Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about issue number 10 of X-Force, is part 6 of the X-Manhunt written by Jeffrey Thorne, but before we dive into the story, I want to ask you a favor. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment to help the channel grow. So with that said, this issue opens with a narration saying, as a young man, Charles realized two things. First, he was a mutant, one of many. Second, contact between those mutants and baseline humans would not go well. So he resolved to do something about the looming conflict. He gathered young mutants, gave them paramilitary training in the use of their powers, made them X-Men. He set them to protecting humans and mutants from predatory mutants. It looked like a solid plan, but it failed. So with that intro said, we then returned back to the battle at hand with Diablo saying, Corazon, I'm talking to you. Yes, and please stop. I must concentrate on Dr. Avery now. And with a few choice words, she managed to convert him back to his original state. With the doctor back in his human form, Diablo and her assistant turned to face the defeated X-Force team. So with everything pointing towards defeat, Diablo's assistant asks if they can get back to business and kill the rest of the team with the exception of Forge. Now to that, Diablo stated that whoever she was working with still wanted Forge alive, which means the rest of them are worthless. This right here prompted the assistant to say, we should kill the Phoenix child first, she's the most dangerous. But before they could do that, Pastor teleported in and grabbed Rachel and teleported away, just as Sage and what appeared to be the X-Men came flying out of the sky. So with a gigantic optic blast clearing the way, this team's beast drop-kicked the assistant and said, the problem with these dramatic entrances is we've never come up with a rousing battle cry. So with the battle on, Sage told Beast and Angel to stay focused and evaluate their targets, so as Angel took hold of Betsy, Havoc and Scott both started to team up on La Diabla just so she could activate her enforcer, Rampage. And just like before, Avery became the creature and instantly took out Cyclops. And then in no time at all, both Beast and Havoc followed right behind. So with that done, all members of the X-Force were able to escape. And on the next page, we get Pastor saying, are you folks nuts? That crew had you dead to rights. If Sage and I didn't show up, you would all be dead. We need to beat feet. Now this caused Forge to say, calm down Pastor. We did show up. Clean extraction, 0 casualties. Now this led to Pastor saying, so far, those people were out for blood. Do you even know who they are? To which this question was answered by Sage saying, Corazon Estrada, La Diabla, Alchemist, and Terrorist. And Dr. Howard Avery, a shapeshifter, a failed experiment allows him to transform into a Gamma-class kaiju. And of course, Pyotr Rasputin, Colossus. Now with that explained, Rachel pointed out that there is no way Colossus is with them willingly, which tells them that they must have done something to him just as they did something to Niccolo. Following that, the team was preparing to move when Rampage's hand came crashing out of the sky and smashed Angel into the ground, revealing Angel to be just a robot, not the real thing. As everyone looked on in shock, La Diabla continued to say, you should have listened to the robot and run away. I might have even let you slink off to lick your wounds. None of you was ever anything more than a distraction. But you are stupid. You choose to stay, so stay while we finish Forge's lesson. And as they all started to do battle, Sage told her team to see what was in her head about the Kaiju. And as instructed, both Betsy and Rachel did just that, and were all caught up on her plan, while Sage went on to say, those X-Men were not bots, by the way, they're X-Sentinels Mark I. Someone I know was reverse engineering them, and I borrowed a few. Now this prompted La Diabla to tell Sage that she depends too much on technology, and that it will be the death of her. But just as La Diabla said that, an additional voice chimed in and said, that's good advice for you too, you know my plans for Forge. Now this was the last thing La Diabla wanted to hear, because according to her she wasn't finished yet, but whoever this person was, had power over her, because he declared that she is done and caused the ground under their feet to erupt and knock everyone on their ass on the next page. And following that display of power, the voice told La Diabla to be a good girl and open the door, which she did without much protest. And as the man walked out, he said, I don't blame you for this, Corazon. Your intentions are always good, it's just you're young and don't know any better. And at that moment, we discovered who was pulling the strings, for Moses Magnum entered the chat. And after Sage's analysis, she stated, a volcano couldn't kill him. A black hole couldn't kill him. He fought the X-Men and the Avengers to a standstill. With that data out there, Sage couldn't find a possible way to win, so she suggested that they should just run. But as she said that to Forge, to her surprise, Forge was doing some mental calculation that completely changed his mind. because before anyone could react, Moses Magnum walked right up to him and said, "Well, Forge, is it clear now?" To which Forge answered with yes, it's all clear, and smashed his sphere onto the ground. So with his prize object on the floor, Sage couldn't help but to shout out to see what the hell Forge was doing. And according to the man himself, he was saving the world. And after this turn of events, Moses asked about his friends, to which Forge replied by saying, they don't understand, not yet, but they will. But see, as Forge approached Moses, he intentionally took his headband off so his fellow teammates were able to read his mind. So as Betsy and Rachel entered Forge's mind and went through all the tea, Moses, on the other hand, ordered Corazon to get them out of there. So with everything going belly up, we transition over to a narration saying, as a young man, Max Eisenhardt learned two things. First, he was a Jew. Second, he was a mutant. He learned, early and brutally, that this made him a double pariah. He knew those like him would be plagued by persecution and death at the hands of bigots. Eisenhardt resolved to do something about it. He took the name Magneto, formed a cult of fellow mutants, the children of tragedy, with the fire of revenge fueling their souls. He set them to punish all baseline humans for their persecution of his people, and all mutants who dared stand between him and his vengeance. He formed his own nation as a mirror to the world, one where mutants would rule and humans, if they were lucky, would serve. Segregation, apartheid, of course, he failed. Now following that narration, we then jump over to Subterranea Deviant City of Voice, 10 hours later, with Corazon saying this is a mistake. But that was when Moses corrected her and said, there's only one mistake in life, failure. Utopia, Genosha, and Krakoa. Every attempt by mutants to preserve themselves in the face of human predation has failed, just as humans have failed to eradicate or even control them. Decades of failure on both sides. Why? Because their war is built on a faulty premise. There is no such thing as Homo superior. There's only one race, human. All humans may not be mutants, but all mutants are humans. For humanity to survive, they must all be forced to see the truth. Now this wasn't good enough for Corazon, because she went on to say, Forge isn't one of us. He and his people have thwarted every one of my tests. This statement led Moses to say, he didn't understand. He hadn't seen, now that he has, his mutation won't let him look away. He has to complete the resonator. He can't help himself now. When it's done, I'll open the gate, and the shattering will commence. And all humanity will. But before Moses could finish his statement, Forge interrupted him and said, hey, it's ready. So with everything set and done, Forge then went on to say, it's a solid build. You almost had it right. But any gates this thing opened would have. But before Forge could finish his statement, Corazon stated, it was perfect. I designed the resonator, I bent the physics and the magic. What we tested with Nuclo will work. Now, to that, Forge disagreed and came back with, Nuclo's Nexus gate was unstable. This resonator of yours wouldn't have worked any better. But now all it needs is power, your power, Moses. You charge the resonator with your Magnum Force energy. Your stable Nexus gate opens and stays open. And to this, Magnum went on to say, it will flood this world with destruction. We will save humanity. So with an outburst of channeled energy, Magnum shouted, let the shattering begin as the device activated. With his massive flow of energy filling the air, the technicians went on to say there is 14 minutes until the device is fully charged. But just as that was being said, another technician went on to announce that they got a low-altitude perimeter breach. And out of a cloud of smoke, walked the X-Force team saying, right according to the plan, Love's favorite targets, no quarter. I already know which one I want. And at that moment, Tank removed his mask and revealed his identity as Colossus, and it was about time he dropped that bloody helmet and took his face back. So with the team ready to move, the person pretending to be Colossus walked up and said, finally, some entertainment, it was so boring being you. And in a flash of green light, the false Colossus shifted to her original form and revealed herself to be Xanda. So with that said, Xanda and Colossus proceeded to do battle, and Rachel ran up on Rampage. And when she got there, she stated, so I've been thinking. You're just a big old rage monster, right? So much hurt, so much pain. Hard to hold it all in, trust me, I get it. Now she wasn't talking to the monster but instead to Dr. Avery. And then Rachel continued to say, Dr. Avery, you've got a terrible self-image. I wish I had the time to walk through all your traumas and patch you up. But I don't, so you get the crash course. Now, despite Rachel being there to help, the doctor was still fearful of the beast, now which led to Rachel stepping in and saying, I might not be able to break whatever the hell La Diabla put in your head. But I can change your perspective so you can get a hold on all that anger. And as designed, Rampage slowly started to transform back into his human form and collapsed in Rachel's arms. So with his everything continuing to unfold, La Diabla shouted out, "Traitor," and said, "I told you, warned you that Forge had done this." But regardless of what La Diabla said, Moses refused to believe it and said, "No, Forge is with us. And besides, I must charge the resonator, and in just a few moments, the shattering will happen, and that is all that matters." So with Moses distracted, La Diabla was going to take it into her own hands and deal with Forge on her own until Betsy shot her out of the sky and said, "Eldritch, that's what you called me. Do you even know what that means, Dr. Estrada?" "I do, always have done. You're an alchemist, that's your patch, not quite science, a bit of magic. Quite the mishmash you have, isn't it? Quite the little toolbox. Your problem is, at the bottom, that all you are is tools, tricks, and plans. But you didn't plan on this. You use science, Dr. Estrada, you use magic. You used them to kill thousands in Japan, Cambodia, and across the world. You used magic and science to kill Nuclo and Nori. You tried to kill Rachel. But I am magic, Dr. Estrada, and I'm bloody well going to gut you like a fish." So with Betsy attacking the doctor, Sage springs into action saying, "You're a piece of shit, Forge. You could have told us at the start. You could have said one thing to me at least. You forced me to play catch up. I hate that nearly as much as magic." To that, Moses asked Forge what Sage was talking about. To which Sage answered with, "I'm expressing a hypothesis, stop me when I'm wrong." Forge hacked his mutation. He got a little cosmic tap that let him see the whole lattice of probabilities. And the fractures. Each one, a test, a possible Armageddon. Trying to break the world. And we stopped them, every one. But Nuclo was your big swig, Moses. He was supposed to open the dimensional gates to pump an endless flow of monsters into the world, killing billions. The resulting global calamity would force mutants and humans to fight them together. We'd unify. Now this prompted Moses to say, "Save the world, save everyone. The only solution to make humans, make mutants, both see we only have each other, that we're one. We need a cataclysm to force us together, to bond like a family." So to this, Sage replied with, "The enemy of my enemy is my friend?" The math never maths on that. And Forge twigged to most of it. His powers let him lock in on your activities. But it's all intuitive. His mutation is guiding him, compelling him. We run around the world, putting out the fires. Nori dies. But it doesn't all click until you two actually get together. Then you take off your blockers, let Rackle and Betsy right into your head. You drop the analog for me to finally get a real look at the damn thing. Secondary hypothesis, everything you did was to get us here now, to stop all this for good. So with those guesses out there, Forge asked Sage if she brought them, to which she said, "Yeah, I brought them, Surge's gauntlets. Power regulators, able to absorb and distribute massive amounts of esoteric energy." So with a well-placed throw, Sage threw the gauntlets into the ball of energy, and within seconds, a massive explosion went off, destroying the platform. And when the smoke cleared, Forge stated, "It's over." Nori's gauntlets shattered the resonator. And as for their enemies, it appeared that they teleported out during the flash. Now this led Betsy to tell Forge that if he had just told them everything, then they could have helped. But that was of no concern to Forge, because he went on to say, "How many times do I have to say it? I make machines to solve problems. X-Force is my machine. And machines don't argue. They don't give me their opinions. They just do what I make them to do." And at that moment, a voice called out for Sage and Forge, and to everyone's surprise, Surge was standing right in front of them in a new form. And almost instantly, Sage started to break down what she noticed in Surge's new appearances, saying, "Scanalysis, humanoid, coherent plasma organism, combinate electromagnetic and extra-dimensional energies." And then Sage went on to ask if Forge had anything to do with this. To which he said no with the quickness. And with that said, this issue comes to an end with the team telling Forge that he should know that they all are quitting after everything he put them through. Now down in the comment section below, let me know your thoughts about this issue and what predictions you could have moving forward. So with that established, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to leave a like and a comment if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.